Good afternoon and welcome to Have a Chat. I'm Audrey Lynch with my co-host Judy Loge. Good afternoon, Judy. How are you?
Hello, Audrey. Glad to be back on the set after a little hiatus.
Yes, we missed you for sure. You were away for a little bit.
Had a vacation with my family and did a beautiful tour down to Cape Cod again and all that southern part, and it was beautiful. Yeah. Beach time, fun time, quality family gathering.
No, we all need a little bit of that.
Yes.
We want to welcome our viewers to the show today. We have a really great, important show that we want you to tune in today. We have a very, very special guest that's going to be talking to us for the rest of the show after our little first segment, and a very important subject on domestic violence. So we definitely want you to stay tuned for the rest of the show. But first, we're going to start off like we always do with a quote of the day.
Thank you, Audrey. I chose a quote that was very pertaining to the subject matter of the show, and it is this: "She wore her scars as her best attire, a stunning dress made of hellfire." Danielle Saint.
Perfect.
So it's strong, it's going to have meaning, and for all of our viewers today, it's going to have that very amazing message that our guest is going to bring, and I'm sure that there will be, unfortunately, many people that can relate to the subject of domestic violence or violence against women.
Unfortunately, yes, there's probably going to be that many people that this touches, but at the same time, it will also help.
Oh, for sure. It's a message of surviving and dealing with it and how to watch for the warning signs. We'll get all into that later in the show.
That's right. Okay. There was lots happening here in Miramichi, like there always is, especially in the summertime.
Yes.
And you and I both attended a play.
We did.
What evening was that? Thursday
It
evening?
was a late
Wednesday
show at
or
9:30.
It was.
At the Bow Theater.
Right, because the Miramichi Drama Festival, the very first one,
Yes.
put on a number of different plays and skits leading up into a huge amount of workshops that they were putting on. So our other co-host, Veronique, she actually starred, was one of the actresses.
It was her debut.
Yes, it really was.
In Semi-Sweetheart.
Semi-Sweetheart, that was the name of it. And it was, I had never seen a play like that.
Reading.
Yeah, a reading play. But there was still a lot of acting and everything that had to go along with it, which I didn't realize was going to happen. When I first seen them and they had their stands and the lines were there, and I was like, oh, they're just as if they were reading to act it out later.
No.
But no,
a lot of
all
movement,
the
interaction.
There really was. She was fabulous, by the way.
And Veronique, go for it, girl. You set your goals and you achieved them, and it was funny. Her dance was amazing. Rachel Bernard starred with her, who was phenomenal, as well as Rob McGowan, who was very talented in many ways.
Yes.
And also, it was in honor, this festival, of the late Mr. Lloyd Cameron, who was a local, well, he was a theater director, but he was much more than that. He was a friend to most people in this community, and he passed last year. And Sam Crowell and Naomi McGowan were the co-founders of this festival. And it's going to be an annual event, and I'm so proud of him and Naomi for doing this, and for all of those who took part in this amazing, successful festival.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations, Veronique. We look forward to more from her, for sure. I myself attended something as well. I'm just going to jump over a couple of things just because it was an event as well. Last night, I was at Carrefour Beausoleil. Yes. My brother-in-law, Ted Lynch, actually launched his third CD. Wow. He just came back from Nashville.
Oh my.
And it is actually played a few songs from this CD. He has 2 other CDs. And he also had Adam Jardine as a guest that also performed, and it was almost a packed house. It was fantastic. He tells a little bit of his story. He does have a Christian story that goes along with it. And if you missed it or if you know of him, you can check him out. I'm pretty sure he has some videos, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they're on YouTube or where they are. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to let people know, besides Ted Lynch having his CDs, and he's doing so well with them, he decided to, which I didn't realize, they partnered up with an organization called Village of Hope.
Okay.
And this here is actually, it's all across Canada, but the chapter that's right here in New Brunswick, Ted Lynch is going to be going on tour, with his music. So, and they partner up with Village of Hope. And if you don't know who they are, what they do is they help young men, if I'm not mistaken, 18 or 19 or older, who are struggling with drug or alcohol addiction, right? And it's a 12-month program. It's like a campus where you would go there and you would learn how to get better, but it also it gives you guidance through the Word of God as well.
It's wonderful. And we've had him on our show.
We have. And it's fantastic. And you can actually mentor or sponsor a student for this. So that was something else that was going on last night as well.
Good for him.
And so if you don't have his CD, you have to get it. It is so good. It really is. There's a really strong message. That song that he plays, Real Men. Real Men. You've got to check it out.
That kind of ties into our theme about men as well today.
That's
and
right.
those who don't act like real men.
Exactly.
And I should just throw in that he's your brother-in-law to make it that more
He
special.
is. Yeah, family member there.
Go, Ted, go.
I'm pretty sure if someday if he performs in Nashville live, front row seats for the family. I'm hoping.
For Have a Chat staff.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we can do like a live feed from there. That would be fantastic. I also want to touch on something that's coming up. Any of my little followers, which I didn't realize I had so many, I want to say thank you so much to anyone who makes a comment. I don't post anything on Facebook as far as my workouts and what I'm doing and this competition that I've went ahead and agreed to do. But your words of encouragement and telling me to stick with it and stuff like that, like I just do those things for my own incentive and my coach to let her know I am at the gym, by the way. But those who are following me, the contest is coming up. There's one October 27th, which I'm definitely going for.
And
so
I want to go.
10 weeks out. That's how us competitors count things. They're like, oh, when's your competition? We're like 10 weeks out. That's how we do it. And there's one at 8 weeks as well that if I'm ready, my coach would really like me to attempt that one as well. So the bikini portion of it, because there's all these different categories. So I'm doing bikini, and some of the most exciting parts of it is exactly my love, of course, is shoes. So there's specific actual shoes. They want clear shoes. So my shoes have come in. So now I have started my posing classes, where I learn how to, I don't have to learn how to walk in them.
No, you live in heels.
I live in these.
You live in them.
But the poses that go along with it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, definitely. So I had my first class yesterday.
Beautiful shoes.
My thighs are killing me.
Oh, that's okay.
This is
Fake
true.
it till you make it.
No, exactly. So those are part of the competition.
Beautiful.
And the other fun part is, though I struggled for the last couple of months, and of course you have to choose a color to wear.
Yes.
And a bikini.
Tell me it's the one I chose. Yes, it is.
It is.
It is.
It really is.
I picked that out.
I went with red.
I love it. It's gorgeous. Stunning.
Yep.
It's going to be beautiful with your dark skin, Audrey.
All the people that I showed, the different ones I was looking at, the majority rules, and I'm going with my viewers and what I feel like will best suit me.
And where you're so dark, that red's going to just pop and accentuate all your muscle tone and figure. It's going to be amazing. And I want to go that evening. Hopefully I'm going to have that date for you to go and cheer you on.
Oh, well, I'm so surprised by how many people say they'd love to go and see me. And I'm like,
I'd love to
go.
Would love to go.
No, that's just it. So for all the words of encouragement, I really, really do appreciate them. I love it. It keeps me going.
You'll be good.
For sure.
Awesome.
Let's see, where else are we going with that?
Well, we just have to touch on that's so happy, and we want happy, and if we have to move into realistic situations as well.
Yes,
and I was away last week when you touched upon the terrible losses of the 4 lives in Fredericton, all special people that were taken so innocently, and my husband and my son Jansen and I wanted to somehow pay tribute to that by sitting down and watching the funeral, the regimented funeral, which was televised from the Aiken Center on Saturday.
It was past,
and it was that was especially for the 2 members of the Fredericton Police Force, that particular funeral.
Right.
And I guess you just brace yourself, and the tears flow because it's so beautiful and gut wrenching at the very same time.
It is.
You know,
it really is.
And the eulogies are what nail you in the heart because they were so special, and all 4 of them were so special.
Exactly.
In particular, Greg Morris talked about his son-in-law. He's a grandfather to Constable Rob Costello's 2 daughters from his first marriage.
Right.
And his eulogy was so beautiful. And the analogy he made that where Rob loved basketball so much that when he took that shot, which ended his life, he put it as such that it was his last breath, his last game, his last shot.
Right.
And it was poignant. And then my heart ached for Steve Burns, the wife of Sarah Helen Burns.
Right.
She was, I guess, the most private person, right?
Yeah.
And her boys were her world. And when I saw that her favorite color was yellow, and that her beloved horse Grimsby led the procession.
Oh, really?
And that her favorite color being yellow was on the ties of her husband and her 3 sons, and the 4 roses on her casket. I'm telling you, Audrey, I don't think I cried that much in a long time.
No.
You want to pay honor, and you know you're going to cry, but it was very intense and intimate picture of the special lives that they led. And when Fredericton Police Chief Leanne Fitch made her statement, she had to garner up such strength, because not only was she trying to hold it together for the loss of those beloved officers that she was with Rob from day one, when he joined 20 years ago, she had to hold it together for the officers and all the other first responders that were in attendance.
Have to go to work.
1,500 people in the uniform. And also for the community who was mourning. And also mourning, of course, the lives of Bobby Wright and Donnie Robichaud.
Exactly.
So
the civilians that died that day as well.
Yeah, so the funeral was absolutely, in a very somber way, eloquently carried out.
Oh, was it? Oh, that's
great tribute to those people.
No, that's just it. I actually have a friend of mine whose husband is who's a police officer, and she immediately posted something on Facebook of what it's like to be a wife of a husband who goes to work every day and has that thought in her mind that potentially he could not come home. And I just, she put it so beautifully, Peggy McLean, she put it so beautifully in the words, and it just made me feel what she must feel every day.
All of those people that have their
and
their
so
loved
thankful
ones.
that they do that, right? Really?
And my son, Evan, who's 26 now, his best friend's an RCMP officer based in Agassiz, BC, and he's like my other son. And so I worry just like we all do, and his mother and father do. But just peace of heart extended to those that are going through all this mourning.
Definitely, definitely. Some other deaths that we want to mention that are sort of a big deal. Aretha Franklin passed away.
The legendary entertainer Aretha Franklin.
I know. My mother is devastated. She loved her music.
She was legendary.
She was.
She really sold, I think, 75 million records worldwide.
Really?
She's received 18 Grammy Awards.
She had her voice. It wouldn't matter if you couldn't even see her. If you it doesn't matter. You could hear. You know who it is.
And she sang what she felt.
That's right.
Right?
She always sang with so much passion and so much drive in every song.
And she was so honored. She sang at the inauguration of 3 U.S. presidents: Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and Obama, and Barack Obama. And she also, when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, she sang at his funeral.
Oh, you're kidding.
She's been highly honored and highly regarded as the Queen of Soul.
No.
And do you remember who the American Godfather of Soul was, Audrey?
No.
James Brown.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, so there's that parallel of the American and him being the Godfather of Soul.
No.
She passed of advanced pancreatic cancer at 76 at home in Detroit, but she also has been suffering ill health for many years.
Oh,
so
has she?
Bless her soul. She left us with a lot of 76.
76.
R-E-S-P-C-T.
I'm not going to sing.
No, but she's had some pretty pretty amazing numbers.
There is, definitely.
Probably
definitely.
tops.
And another person that had passed away of great significance as well is
Kofi Annan.
Yes.
He was, in my opinion, one of the best and one of the world's top diplomats and the first black African to lead the United Nations, of course.
Right.
And at a time when the Cold War was a big issue when he was there as a leader, the threat then came for global terrorism.
Right.
And due to his combating these issues, he was able to actually help world peace, and therefore he received the Nobel Peace Prize at one point. He did such work for worldwide issues, and he really struggled to help those with AIDS.
All, right?
Yeah, and AIDS in Africa. He tackled all of that, and he really was a huge figure and a beloved man. And I love using his quotes too, and I have used them on the show.
Yes. Definitely.
So
Very
he was
powerful
pretty
figure.
special.
Yeah. We want to. Did you want to touch on a little bit?
What our show is going to be about today?
Yes. Yeah, we do. We want to finish our quick chat portion of this show with some facts. We do on domestic violence and all the stats.
All right, and I'll just kind of breeze through it, but not to be meant to be disrespectful. I just want to get this covered before we go to the break.
We want our viewers to realize the importance of this, that this is something that is ongoing. It's not going away.
No.
And it needs to be recognized as something that
happens.
That
it's
happens
happening
every day. No.
Okay, so people may wonder why women stay in abusive relationships. There are those whys. I have friends that have been there. I'm thinking, why? Yeah. And so I would like to identify some of the reasons. They have distorted thoughts. For example, being controlled and hurt is traumatizing, and this leads to confusion, doubts, and self-blame.
Right.
Okay, like I was ashamed, I was embarrassed, and I blame myself because I thought I triggered something. Okay, that's what their thoughts are.
Their fault.
Yeah, damaged self-worth. Degrading treatment causes damage to the self. Many women feel beaten down and have no value. They claim that their abuse made them feel worthless and alone, like they've done something to deserve this.
That's right.
Okay?
I've had to say that's one of the number ones.
Yeah, and fear is definitely one. The threat of bodily and emotional harm is powerful, and abusers use this to control and keep women trapped. So attempting to leave the abuser obviously is very dangerous. And they often threaten to hurt or harm their loved ones, and especially their children.
That's right.
Wanting to be a savior is the reason why some people stay. They think, you know, this man is broken. He's been maybe abused as a child. He's an alcoholic. I want to be there to show him that I can help him change. Yeah. So they stay to try to do that.
Nobody else will love them, so I will be that person. I can help them. Yeah,
and make
to
him
be
a good
better
man.
Person.
Exactly, Audrey. Yeah. The children. Women put their children before themselves. They sacrifice taking a beating, perhaps, because if they do that, take it, then it spares the child in the home.
That's right.
And, you know, they've maybe stayed for 20 years until the children feel that they're growing up.
They grow up and move out, and then she realizes that.
Yes.
It continues.
Just a couple more. Family expectations and experiences. Many women describe how their past experience with violence distorted their sense of self-worth of a healthy relationship. They've watched their father beat their mother, and somehow they're drawn to that same kind of pattern into a life of a man that's led the same type of behavior.
Exactly.
And lastly, well, I just want to use the quote, raised by animals, you partner with wolves. And finally, on my note, is isolation. A common tactic of manipulative partners is to separate their victim from family and friends. They give you an ultimatum. It's either your friends and family or me.
That's right. Exactly. So don't go away. We're going to take a short break, and joining us will be Colette Martin to talk to us about her story and domestic violence, a very important issue that we want to share with you today here at Have a Chat. Don't go away. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Have a Chat. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just coming back after commercial break, we have now joining us our very, very special guest, a very courageous and inspiring woman joining us, Colette Martin. Hello, Colette.
Hi.
Welcome, Colette.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking this on and bringing this message to people that can view this all over the province and through YouTube internationally, because this is a huge topic, and this is your first introduction in giving this message, isn't it?
Yes.
So welcome and be brave. You are brave and beautiful.
Me. So first off, we want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are.
I'm from Basin Ann, and I have 3 beautiful kids. I have a wonderful family and lots of support.
Yes, you do.
That's fantastic.
Her voice is so gentle, we might have to ask
you
to speak up.
It is. I know the sound guy's probably going to go, she needs to speak
that
up.
sultry voice.
Exactly.
The topic, unfortunately, today is domestic violence or violence against women. You have been a victim of that.
Yes.
And now we call you a survivor. And you carry on beautifully, Colette. But we have to get this message out and in the proper way. So take us back to when you actually first met this man, and I understand it was through dancing. You met at a dance club.
Yes.
And you were young and vibrant. And tell me about this guy. Was it an instant attraction type thing?
Yes, it was. Yeah. He was very attractive, and it was an instant attraction.
You hit it off.
Yep, right away.
He was educated, athletic, handsome. Seemed like the perfect guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you dated for how many months approximately?
Approximately 8 or 9 months.
8 or 9 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And from knowing Colette, I kind of know.
Yeah, I know you know.
Well, I kind of do, and I really want to get this in the right line of fire as far as the questioning goes. So you were sailing along with this relationship, and then there were some signs. Am I correct that things were a little bit too intense?
Yes. He would watch what I ate. He would try to get rid of my family, like control who I was visiting, who I'd be friends with. He would, I don't know, he tried to just get rid of everybody that I loved.
And didn't he start calling you incessantly?
Yes, he was calling me about 20 times a day. But
because you were still just dating, you weren't living together or anything else like that.
When we were dating, that's when he started. He was calling me about 20 times a day, but I just thought that he loved me. That's why he called so many times.
Yeah.
You thought it was affection?
Yes, I thought it was affection.
Did your mother not say that this is a bit much?
Right away, my mother knew that there was something not right. Okay. But I wanted to be loved.
You were in love.
Yeah.
And he was the guy you thought?
Yeah.
And so. When you say he controlled what you ate, how did that pan out? Did he actually say, if you eat that hamburger, you're going to gain too much weight, or that ice cream's going to put fat on you, or what did he do?
Well, he would just watch what I ate, and what he would do, he'd just make comments, but he would put it in a way that I would feel better if I ate. Yes.
So you didn't really notice it as an insult?
No.
Oh, you're going to get fat because you eat that?
No, he didn't put it in that way, but he'd do it another way.
That would encourage you to maybe eat healthier.
And I did, and I felt good.
She did.
And those signs, I didn't realize it at first.
No.
It was really...
I would think when it started, your friends and your family, when he started to try and seclude you from wanting to go and do family functions, that's when you started
when I noticed it was really, bad.
And Colette was a single mom.
Yeah.
Had a little
boy at that time?
At that time, 5 years old, roughly?
Yeah, he was about 4 years old,
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he jealous of this relationship between you and your son?
Yes, he was. Yeah. And
it got worse.
Yeah.
That was a turn off, and the signal started coming in that this guy's too controlling, too possessive, and the lights went up.
Lights went up.
Okay. So at that point, then you carried on for a bit, and then you said, "This can't go any further. We're going to break up."
Yes.
So what happened?
How long into the relationship were you then?
I'd say about. I met him in January. In August, I decided it was getting. It got little physical, so for the first time. So then I said, I knew it was getting really bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was about November when I told him that was it.
Okay.
So you would have arguments, and then the arguments would turn physical, or
there's one time that it escalated to, and so I knew that it wasn't going anywhere, and I knew.
Yeah.
He would just grab me and stuff, and then he would always tell me, "You don't know what I've been through," or whatever. So I would take pity on him.
Exactly.
And I didn't know, because he never told me what was wrong with him.
Right.
But he'd always use that as an excuse.
Something very from his childhood that he's treating you that way.
So anyway, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I told him to leave. So he did leave, went back to Montreal, where he's from, actually.
Yeah.
Moved back from Montreal to Moncton.
Yes.
Because he was going to university in Moncton. And started a new life. He had a girlfriend there. I was here. I was working. And
so months have now gone by
months
again.
has now passed. Like Christmas have passed.
Okay.
I started a new life. I
met a new guy.
Yeah, I met a new guy.
Was he texting or talking or sending messages
yes.
periodically through all of that?
Because he had left stuff.
Touch?
Yeah, left stuff behind.
Right.
Writing me love letters. Calling missing me.
Even though he had a girlfriend.
Yes.
He was still communicating with you like a love loss and unrequited love affair.
That, to me, I think that would be part of that. That would be somewhat normal to keep that little
control
thread.
Like I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and if you know me as well as anybody of my friends know me.
I feel like you have a big heart.
And I didn't want to hurt him, so I knew he was wrong for me, but I didn't want to hurt him, so I never wrote back, but I'd answer his calls and tell him not to call me anymore and stuff. And
then we should get to the point where he said at one time he's going to come back and collect some of the stuff he had left behind at your place.
Yes.
That was the beginning of a nightmare.
Yes.
So you were in your home, as I understand, located near your parents' home. You had your own place with your son, Justin.
Yes.
And your ex-boyfriend was going to come and collect his stuff, but you didn't know exactly when.
No.
So maybe you should share at what point he arrived.
That night, May 1st, it was the end of April, he called and told me that he was going to come and get his stuff. But he always did that, never came. Mm-hmm. But I must have had a feeling that something was up. So I called my cousin, and she came over to spend the night.
For protection.
Yeah, I must have felt it.
Yeah.
And she came over, and not long after we went to bed. Well, I'd say around 22:12, I heard a big bang, and it was my door coming down, smashed. He smashed my door.
Your front door.
My front door.
Coming in.
Yes, my door fell. And I heard that big noise, so I came out of my room, and I closed the door behind me. And that's when I saw him standing there.
Uh-huh.
No eyes in his head. 2 black holes, and his hair all ruffled.
Oh, God.
And he looked at me and he said, "Tonight's the night you're going to die."
Those were the first words out of his mouth.
Yes.
And he was on a mission.
Yeah. And he proceeded to go to our knife drawer. Mm-hmm. He lived there with me.
He knows where everything is.
He knew where everything was. And I can remember myself, I could still see myself hitting his hands.
Okay. Trying to get the knife away.
Trying to stop him from taking the knife.
Taking the knife out of the drawer.
And he took this big knife, and he was behind me, and he started cutting my neck, and he slit my throat from here all the way.
His very first was across the throat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might I add, he was a very strong guy, a well-abled body, a hockey player, played with our local Tim Hortons Hortons Leafs.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was a very fit guy, and he took you and slit your throat from side to side.
Yeah.
And then he went on to stab her how many more times?
He stabbed me 37 times. He slit my wrists. He slashed all my legs. He would...
Are you unconscious at this time?
No.
No, you're fully...
When he would do stuff, and as soon as I would be able to get away, I would run. And I would try to get to my parents' place.
Okay, so
but he
within
would
the
catch
house,
me.
outside the house, he's attacking.
Yeah, and I would run and try to get to my parents' house, but he would grab me and drag me back.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And,
are you screaming at
yes,
this? I'm assuming.
I'm screaming.
And your cousin is there?
My cousin's there, and she is trying to do something to help me. She's calling the cops.
Okay.
And one time, he had me over the railings of a step, and he was stabbing me. And Dominique was trying to hold my feet.
Oh, she's there.
Yes.
She's like physically
She had called the cops, and she was watching my son.
And she came out to assist you. Okay.
And the little boy, obviously going through your head is were fierce lines when it comes to our babes. Yes. And so your mind was thinking, protect Justin, protect Justin.
That's what she was trying to hold on to my legs because she knew I was going to fall. And she was holding on to my legs, I remember. And he said to get away because he was going to do the same to her. Right. And I said, Dominic, go in the house and take care of Justin. Because and she said, don't worry. And that's what she did. She saved us.
Colette, was this the matter? Did he actually verbalize the thought of, if I can't have you, nobody else will?
The final time when I made it to my mom and dad's house, that's when he slit his throat, slit his wrist, and I was on my knees begging him to stop stabbing me, stop slashing my legs, and he told me, if I can't have you, nobody else will.
Oh my gosh,
he finally stopped, and he was calm, and we went back to the house because I didn't want him to stab me anymore.
Well, you're bleeding profusely at this point. That would be like a 15 centimeter slash, wouldn't it?
And when we got to the house, he was calm. But when I got there, she told me, you have to hide your neck. We don't want your son to see your neck.
Right.
I had no clue what she was talking about. I was in shock.
No,
but when I went to the washroom and I looked, everything. You could see everything in there. The jugular, you could see everything. Because this part had fallen and this one
had drooped down.
Yeah. And so I started screaming. So he started freaking out again. And so I ran past him. I don't know how I did it.
Were you trying to warn your parents to not let you in because you were fearful of their lives being
One time I did get to the door, and my mom was going to open the door, and I said, Mom, don't open the door because he's probably going to kill you guys too.
Oh my goodness, your mother. As a mother, I don't know that I couldn't not open the door and let my daughter in.
I know. But he was probably
He
going
was
to kill
right
them.
behind you.
Yeah.
Was he chasing after you
Yes.
as you were going to?
Yeah, he would grab me and drag me back.
So
That's
this
what he
sounds
would
like
do.
it went on for several minutes.
It went on for a long time. I remember everything was in slow motion. I remember him stabbing me, and I remember the knife bouncing out just like there was a shield there. And I didn't know if I remember you're laying there and you're thinking, and everything's in so much it's slow motion, and I'm thinking, what is am I alive?
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember this warm feeling come over me, and when I looked up, my cousin that had passed and my two grandfathers that had passed were there.
She had a vision of her
I had a vision of
recently
that.
deceased grandfathers and cousins.
Yeah.
You were that close to dying.
Yeah.
And that's when you were laying outside in the...
Yeah. And the last time when I ran past him and I left, I ran to the road and I saw the police lights, and I thought, oh my God. I couldn't believe I could see the cop car coming, and he dropped the knife.
Yeah.
So I picked it up because I didn't want him to stab me no more.
Right.
And when the policeman he came down the road, he had to keep going because he had to check out. He didn't have no backup, right?
Oh, he was alone.
And he didn't know what was going on, so he had to keep going. Because I had to ask them that. Why did you keep going? Because I thought
your heart must have
even
just
my sister
sank.
was there. My sister was there before. My cousin had called my sister.
Right.
And then the police landed after my sister. Okay. And but I had the knife in my hand.
So it looked like you were the perpetrator.
I looked like
guilty.
And he told the cops that I slit his throat and his wrists.
Oh wow!
Oh, you're kidding.
So I'm sitting. He's in the ambulance, and I'm sitting. They had to figure out what had happened.
That's right.
So,
but you had witnesses. You had your cousin there that knew
my
he broke
cousin
down
was
your
there,
door, and
she had seen everything happen.
Right.
And my sister saw what had happened to me. Had witnessed, and he had told me that we were gonna bleed together. He was putting me in his car, and we were gonna go away and
die
bleed together. Yes.
And Colette, to your knowledge, he had no history of alcohol or drug abuse.
Not that I know.
No. Or mental.
Not that I knew about.
No, that's shocking, isn't it? That those signs were not. Obviously the possessiveness and the ownership of you, but to say that he had ever done anything more than one assault, which is one too many, left you wondering what really brought this on. Unrequited love, passion.
After everything had gone on, then I found out that he had assaulted a previous girlfriend.
Oh.
And but that's all I found out after. But that was after everything.
Yeah.
So I go to the after this all happened, I go to the hospital, and they treated me wonderful here in Miramichi. But the only problem was that I had all this to deal with, and my neck was wide open, and they had to stuff wet cloths all night. They had to keep the skin alive.
And
I could feel,
because we don't have the staff here in Miramichi, plastic surgeons,
No,
to be able to
but
do
the attending
what was
doctor
required.
was wonderful.
And look
I
at
never-
the results of this
you
woman.
can barely
And
tell.
it was horrible because I was scared to death.
Of course.
Like they couldn't
to
even
leave that wound open
yeah,
in
and
your
I couldn't
head, you
even.
would think.
They couldn't close the curtains or anything. Like I was mortified. Like anyway.
And the feeling you would have of the
feeling.
wide
I
open.
could feel.
Well,
I
I
could
was
feel
going
the
to
air.
say the air.
I could
and
feel the air coming
You
in.
could hear your breathing
Yes,
even more
yes.
so, I would
and
think.
the thing that I had to go through, like with the police coming,
Trauma
taking
team.
pictures and
exactly.
stuff. Like anyway.
Well, we're actually going to take a short break.
Okay.
Continue.
Yes, and we are going to be back with Colette Martin after the break, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about the rest of her story, and then we're going to be sharing with you some more facts and details on this very, very important subject of violence against women and domestic violence. Don't go away. We'll be back after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Have a Chat. If you're just joining us, we have a very, very special guest joining us today, Colette Martin. We've already talked to her a little bit about her story with domestic violence and violence against women. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
You're doing
Thank you.
awesome.
You're doing good
just
so
doing
far.
Fabulous for such an intense subject.
Yeah,
I
we
think
want
I
to
have,
continue with your story. We are at the point where now the injuries have happened, the police have arrived, and you are now at the hospital.
So at the hospital, it was very traumatic for me because of feeling like all the being stuffed with wet cloths, feeling the air. Yeah. So I couldn't wait to see a plastic surgeon, and that's what we were waiting on.
That's what you're waiting on, okay.
Because we needed to close this for me to feel whole again, I guess.
Right. Yes, of course.
Are you considered stable, in a stable condition at this point? Yes.
I believe so.
Okay.
Mentally, no.
No, traumatized.
No.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I think if I remember correctly, I think it was from like 1 o'clock in the morning till like probably lunchtime the next day until they found
somebody.
Yeah.
And they bring that plastic surgeon to you, or they send you to him?
They send me to him.
Okay.
I was already admitted at
Okay.
Miramichi Hospital.
Right.
So they came with the news and they told me they found somebody.
Okay.
Well, for me, it was my savior.
Right.
I couldn't wait to get there. So the ambulance took me with my friend, my best friend actually. She came in the ambulance with me. My mom and my cousin followed ambulance
to this provincial hospital.
Yes, to the. And when I got there, I was laying on the stretcher, and the physician looked at me and asked me what I did to deserve what I got.
I know. It's
land.
It's got to be the worst thing you could have ever
And
done.
then he told me that things like these don't happen to good girls.
There's something really wrong with that picture, and something
then
really
he
wrong.
told me that I had such a beautiful face, but what a scar I'd have the rest of my life.
So,
And this is the plastic surgeon that's going to do the work?
Yes.
I'd say there are some issues there with him being a hater of women. Maybe we're not saying the name. It could be anybody, but it's just horrendous that you would have to not only deal with what you're dealing with, but have that assault verbally from attending.
Because this was. I just go back for a second. How many years ago was this? What year did this
21
happen?
years.
21
May
years.
1st,
So
1997.
1997, May 1st. I know you know that right off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It changed
so
your
do
life.
you ask for a different doctor at that point?
I went back to remove the stitches a couple of days after because they were very fine stitches, but that wasn't the end of it.
Oh, you're kidding.
He didn't want to put anything in my IV to put me to sleep while he stitched my neck.
What?
Oh, my goodness.
And I told him that I would not lay there and look at him while he just told me all that stuff.
Oh my.
Right.
So finally he agreed to put stuff in my IV to put me to sleep.
Unbelievable.
So it knocked me out, and then I was put in the hallway by myself after it was done. So when I woke up, I started screaming, which woke up my friend and my mom and my cousin.
Yeah.
And so they come out running, and they didn't know what was going on, and they found me there by myself.
In the hallway.
In the hallway. So they went looking for him.
Can I ask where this hospital was?
No,
You
we
don't-
better
didn't-
not.
No?
We
Okay.
better not because
No?
we're limited
Okay.
to plastic surgeons
Okay.
in New Brunswick, and,
Right,
and it would
okay.
be hard to pinpoint
Okay.
one particular
No.
one when we have
Yes.
so many awesome plastic surgeons.
That's
Yes.
true. That's true.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, because this is the work
That
of a
is
good
a beautiful
plastic
result.
surgeon.
So
of your
this
neck.
is okay.
Yes. And
your mother
so my
come
mother
running?
and my cousin and my friend, they come running. And so they find him, and he tells them that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not sick, and that I should go home.
Oh,
He tells them that I'm wasting taxpayers' money.
I'm in shock, and it's making my stomach
And
roll
he
here.
also
I'm angry.
argues with the ambulance people that had brought me there and tells them that they're wasting taxpayers' money and that I shouldn't be brought back to the hospital, but they told them that they didn't get no orders from him, that they got them from Miramichi Hospital, and that's where they were taking me back.
It's an indication of mental instability, though, on behalf
for
of this
sure.
person. He might be a top-notch physician. That doesn't make him a good person. No. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
Exactly.
Colette,
Unfortunately,
the wonderful outcome of this is that you have really, through counseling, therapeutic, beautiful people you've talked to, like the Patty Michaud of the Miramichi Shelter, Women's Shelter. She's phenomenal. Your
My
family.
psychologist, my Greg McDonald,
Yeah.
my psychiatrist,
Yes.
everybody, like
Team.
in the mental health, I would never be here. I don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, and support of your loved ones. You have
and
so many
support of
friends.
everybody I love.
No,
yeah.
because you can sew up the wounds, you can
Yeah.
sew up the physical things
Exactly.
and diminish them so that they're a lot better. But then there's all the other things that you have to deal with mentally, reliving that night, all the different
I still
things.
relive it every day.
Okay.
Every time I see a knife, I feel that knife.
I've
in my
never
throat.
seen you wear anything but black. Is that because of
I've
that?
never worn a color for 20-some years.
Oh,
I
you're
wore a
kidding.
red top the other day for the first time.
Oh, you're kidding.
But Colette,
Oh, wow.
that's
It was-
because you're in mourning. Is that still
Yes.
because black
Yeah.
indicates that you're in a dark place?
Yes, I miss
Still?
the person that I was.
That you don't feel like you're the same person at
No,
all. You
no.
have such a beautiful smile.
so
and such
beautiful.
a light
But it's
that comes
coming
from.
back.
It's coming
Is it?
back, and
It
you're going to
is.
start
I'm
wearing.
here.
You're going to start wearing necklaces because after that vicious assault, and your neck being slit, you never wore a necklace after that.
No.
You're going to start. You're going to start wearing some vibrant colors, because the good news is that this abuser was convicted July 11th, 1997. He was sentenced August 15th, 1997. And a precedent was set in 1999 because this person who aimed to take your life received 9 years for attempted murder and 2 years for the offense of break and enter. So 11 years he got.
Not enough.
Never enough. It's not even
not enough
close
time?
to, but it did set a
But-
precedence because people that had been attacked before that had much less sentence to serve.
Well, it's not just this kind of attack. Like it was ongoing. He didn't just slit her throat, leave her there to die, and leave. He just continued and went on. To me, that's a different kind of violent crime that warrants a lot longer sentence.
37 stab wounds.
You know what I mean? Like,
37.
He used 3 different knives on me.
Oh.
see, that should be 37 times 3. How many years is
Oh,
that?
I know. I told one of my sons about this sentencing. He said that doesn't even touch the surface of what he should have done behind bars. But still, you were relieved that he was in jail and that you
Yes.
could
That he did serve
move
time.
forward in some fashion.
That's right, exactly.
Audrey, you have some stats as well.
I do. We wanted to share some stats for women here in New Brunswick. Actually, New Brunswick has the highest rate of police-reported IPV victims in the Atlantic provinces, I'm afraid. More people are killed by their partners in New Brunswick than in any other Atlantic province. More family-related murder-suicides happen in New Brunswick than anywhere else in Canada, and 2/3 of all of New Brunswick women killed were living with the accused, right? And 70% of deaths occurred in small towns or rural areas.
Oh, interesting.
Definitely. And unfortunately, there's stats for teenagers.
Yes, and that's why she's giving this wonderful message out there to look for these signs.
Because you were very young when you first started
I was 26.
Okay. Oh, you were 26. Yeah. Okay, you still look really young.
She
I'm trying to do the math.
That's right.
Exactly.
26, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for the teens in New Brunswick, we want to let people know abused in teen dating relationship happens a lot. Although girls are more likely to be harmed, it can also happen to boys too. 80% of teens think emotional abuse is a serious problem when dating. 1 in 3 teens say they have a friend who has experienced dating violence.
1 in 3.
1 in 3. And 1 in 4 high school girls has experienced forced sexual activity while on a date.
Wow.
You know?
Eye-opening.
Definitely, definitely. Now, did you want me to share this, New Brunswick women?
Sure. Anything that you have that will help people out there.
Naomi Bartlett, 33, a single mother of 2 in Moncton, had just gotten engaged and was planning to go back to school to become a paramedic. On April 8th, 2018, Naomi's body was discovered in a home, and her fiancé is accused of killing her. Investigation is still ongoing.
Oh, I did hear of that, but...
Right?
Gives you goosebumps.
It does.
It's
Bridget Peltier, 54, lived in Dundee, New Brunswick. Although they have provided very little information, police say that evidence and information collected at the home have resulted in her husband being charged with first-degree murder. Bridget's body has still not been found.
Oh my God! So look at you here today, like,
right?
You know what? And
there's a reason you're still alive.
Yeah.
And I think
this is it.
Yeah.
And I've encouraged her, Audrey, that you should go out on a platform and do motivational speaking.
I'm going to.
And I will encourage you, and I can walk you through that first little session.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Because what a girl, and what a beautiful person, and a true survivor.
Definitely.
And lucky to be here on our show, and lucky just to be able to.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
So
we also did you want? We'll save this for the end. You want to share? There's help out there. If you know of anybody, or you yourself are someone who you're not sure if you're in a relationship that may be considered or may turn violent, or whether it's mentally or physically.
It could even be financially.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's
the
a
money
form of control.
situation.
That's a form of control as well, for sure, for sure. Yeah. There's important phone numbers that you should know. Miramichi Emergency Center for Women, 622-8865, 24-hour hotline. Okay. Outreach services are 778-6496. Aboriginal Outreach Services is 627-4743. And the Fredericton Sexual Assault Center, which is 506-454-0437. And then there's actually a couple of websites as well. One is called Love Shouldn't Hurt, and the other one is Silent Witness.
Thank God for these resources.
No, definitely something that maybe wasn't as prevalent back 20 years ago when this all happened to you, when you were thinking maybe this is not, what would you do?
Victim services as well probably did not have what they needed at that time.
Victim services, they helped me.
They did.
Right.
But I think they should have helped my cousin too.
Exactly.
Well,
that
that's
was
just
there.
it.
She saved my life. She went through as much as I did. Even though she didn't have the stab wounds. She still went through all that trauma.
She was right there. She wasn't behind a door. She physically was trying to grab you and save your life.
Exactly.
I want to touch on the little bit of trouble that you might have had when the police arrive, your sister arrives, and you're holding the knife. Now, that led into a whole other scenario as far as them having to investigate exactly what happened and who was at fault, correct?
Yeah. But they, as soon as my sisters and my cousin came and said,
"Oh, okay,"
this is what
easily proved.
happened.
Okay,
it was.
they had
right
witness,
away.
so everything was
Yeah.
settled in that sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it did look, you know.
it didn't look good.
Yeah.
Colette,
initially.
Sorry, does your son have any recollection of this? You are now with another lovely man and have 2 sons, but your youngest son, who is a young man now, does he have any recollection?
My oldest son, Justin, we don't talk about it.
Good.
He's an amazing son.
Well-rounded.
He lives in Milton, Ontario.
Okay.
He's got a great job. He works for Toronto Hydro.
Oh.
He has a wonderful girlfriend.
Nice.
They're doing really good. Actually, they're leaving for Italy in a couple
Oh,
of weeks.
lucky. So
Yeah.
why bring him down and talk about that
Exactly.
horrendous experience,
Yeah.
and you have support from your
Exactly.
children at
Someday,
home?
if he wants to talk about it,
No.
we'll talk about it, him and I.
No.
But for now, we'll just leave it at that.
No.
What progress have you made, do you feel, as a woman from the point of that terrible incident to 2018, speaking today?
I'm a lot stronger woman right now.
Stronger in what sense?
I don't know. I've learned to speak.
Yes. Come out of your shell.
Yes. I
You
never
wore a
thought-
red shirt the other day.
Exactly. I never thought I'd ever be able to do this.
And may I address the fact that these purple
yes,
ribbons that we
that we're
have
wearing.
donned today are
And-
the color that represent abuse against women,
Also,
violence against women.
I have the
A silhouette
yes, a silhouette.
of a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, where did that
Okay.
come from? Are they given out at various areas where women can go for
We
protection?
that's for the silhouette program.
Oh, silhouette
Okay.
program that
Okay.
Audrey mentioned,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I think you should speak to young women and men. And I think the sooner the better that we get this out. Now that
No,
you've made your debut
exactly.
and have a chat, we're so very, very thankful to you.
No, that's just it. Because men can also get help. If you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
if they're
exactly.
in a relationship and they feel the need to be this way, they too can get help.
Yeah.
They too can change,
Yeah.
And
right?
also
so that
men
they
are
don't
abused,
end up
too.
It
doing
goes
things.
both ways,
It goes
too.
both ways.
Oh yeah, I've seen
for
women
sure.
abuse men too.
Yes.
So
oh, yes.
abuse is a huge topic, and do you feel
Exactly.
that you've gotten a weight off today speaking publicly?
Oh yes.
It's a big breath of fresh air.
Yes, it is.
It is.
And I thank you so much.
Is
I've
there
been
anything
wanting
you
to
want
do
to
this.
share with all of the women, not necessarily women, anyone who's been abused or that they feel that they're in this situation? Is there anything specifically you want to say personally?
I just want to tell them to not stay. Just get out.
Get out.
Yeah.
And for all the
'Cause you
reasons that we've
can't-
mentioned,
You can't fix them,
No.
and you can't. And don't say you're staying there for your children because it's
not
just
worth
making
it.
them worse.
and you know, and I know, and Audrey know, women that are in these situations as we speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I keep encouraging
Exactly.
them to get out. And for all the names all the reasons rather that I mentioned that they stay, is to like hopefully protect those children until they're old enough to have their wings to get out of the house, etc.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you're going to start wearing color.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that
We'll
smile.
keep an eye out for her there. Definitely. Definitely. And is there a Facebook group by any chance that people can sort of touch base with as of yet, or is that something that's in the works or not necessarily?
I
You
think
might be
that's-
getting a few people
I
talking
think,
to you there.
I think that's something that I'm going to look into.
I
Helping
think so.
others.
No,
Yes.
it's such a huge venue for
And
you
they
to
can
be
look-
able to help.
Yeah, and
Here.
they can look for me because I'm going to start something.
You
It's
are
not
going
the
to.
last time that they're going to see me.
Oh, well,
Here's
this-
to
yes,
Colette Martin, and
definitely.
here's to survival,
Definitely.
and being strong after such an ordeal.
Definitely.
We love you,
Definitely.
and we thank you for being part
Thank
of our
you
show.
so much for joining us today, and we want to thank our viewers for watching. It's been a great show. If you're looking for any of this information, we'll get it up on our Facebook page for Have a Chat. So thank you again for watching. We'll see you all again next week. Have a great day.
Goodbye.